Welcome to the Dental Brief, the world's direct, right-to-the-point podcast produced to get you the information you need to learn and grow your practice. To learn more about our guests and find links to information discussed on our show, visit our website, dentalbrief.com. On to today's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Brief. So excited about my guest today. I have got with us the OSHA lady, Miss Karen Daw. Karen, go ahead and say hello to our audience.
Aloha and hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome. Aloha. You're in Hawaii. Tell us a little bit more about your background, what you do, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah. I'm originally from Hawaii, and so I came out here to visit with Mom pre-COVID. Then COVID happened, and I've been self-quarantined and stuck in paradise for the last few months. I am going back to Columbus, Ohio in a little bit, and that is my home base, but I do speak and coach and train nationally, either, live in office or via virtual. I was actually pivoting to that before all of this happened, and now it's just really blown up. My background is in OSHA and infection control and making sure our teams and offices are in compliance. And that started a little after graduating from OSU. I was working in the emergency department at Riverside Methodist Hospital. And from there, I was recruited to sterilization monitoring as their assistant director, and then realized that all these students were contacting me after they graduated and saying, hey, all the stuff that you were teaching us about sterilization and instrument processing and infection control, we're not doing that in the practice that I'm working in. Whether I'm an associate or a dental hygienist, we're just not doing that. And so I started off kind of just coaching them. It started off as just a little thing, a side hustle, and it's just blown up from there. And I think it's because, I was able to speak to that pain point that a lot of dental business owners have about where is that balance between compliance, making sure I'm protecting my patients, my team, and then and mitigating risks and abating those risks, and then also being able to have a profitable business at the same time.
Sure. Yeah. And, the timing of this for you to be on the show couldn't be better. I am in tune with what's going on with online forums and Facebook groups. And, I see a lot of dentists asking each other a lot of questions, everyone looking for solid information, everyone giving information, maybe sometimes good, sometimes bad. So the timing of this couldn't be perfect. So let me ask you, Karen, what is the problem that you see a lot of practices facing today? And they may be problems that they know or don't know. As you know, that's a big problem, what we don't know. And then, of course, there's going to be other people that are here that they know they have an issue and they're seeking that information. So what is a big problem that you see that you can help with?
Yeah. Now, you mentioned two things. One is, you don't know what you don't know. So being able to acknowledge that. When people hear what I do, there are people that are like, oh, my gosh, where have you been my whole life? I totally need you in my practice. And then there are people like, yeah, I think we're doing okay. And so they wouldn't be a good fit client. I think the big problem a lot of practices are facing right now when it comes to this new way of doing things. We've known, we've done it one way to protect from spatter and spray and bloodborne pathogens for decades now. And now we kind of have to shift a little bit. I think the problem a lot of practices are having is, who do I follow? Where do I get the right information? Social media is fabulous for things like Tiger King memes, but not necessarily the best place to get credible information. And even sometimes the credible sources are at odds with each other as well. All I can do is play the part of the messenger, boil it down to the nuts and bolts, and then help the practice implement. This is what this means to you specifically in your practice, whether you're ortho or endo or oral surgery or general dentistry. This is what this means to your specific practice. And this is where, if this is where you are right now and this is where you need to be, I'm going to give you the tools to get you to that next level so that you can level up when it comes to safety. And I think that big challenge, that pain point for a lot of practices is, where do I get the information? There's so much information that it makes your head spin. I mean, I just did a presentation for, it was over 1,000 people. And at the end of that 4-hour webinar, I had to update 4 slides because new information had come through just in that short amount of time. And I was basing it on new information that was given, released the night before. So just making sure that they know what resources are available to them, I think, is going to be key right now.
What's a telltale sign that a practice has where you know right off the bat, hey, this practice has a problem with OSHA compliance or with infectious control? What do you know? What's the telltale sign?
Oh, yes, I love it. I think when I ask them, tell me a little bit about how you have been doing OSHA training the last few years. And if the response is, yeah, we do OSHA training, once every, 3 or 4 years, that's a telltale sign if they're not doing it annually. And even better yet, if they say, well, yeah, we do it every single year. And I ask them, how are you doing it? And they say, oh, yeah, we sit in front of a video, or God forbid, one office. They said, yeah, we watch the same VHS tape,
VHS.
When was the,
VHS days.
VHS.
Yeah,
Some people like, yeah, VHS. Or one office had most of the people who are listening are not even going to know what this is, but it was a Betamax tape. Do you remember Betamax?
I remember Betamax, yes.
I remember Betamax. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they had OSHA training on Betamax. It wasn't VHS at that point. It was Betamax. So those are telltale signs. We're just doing training just to check off the box. And as you can imagine, it's a difference between, if you're going to repair your car, sometimes you get what you pay for. You can, if you need a complete engine overhaul and you take it to Jiffy Lube and they are like, oh yeah, sure, we can do it, but that's not their specialty. You got a budget, basement bargain price for it. You might not get what you're looking for as far as outcomes go.
Sure. And price doesn't equal cost, right? It never does.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we see that in this industry, as you know, a lot of people buy something because it's cheaper and then it ends up costing a fortune in the long run. So, we like to make sure that our listeners listen to this episode and have something that's tangible, something they can use right away that can make them a better dentist, a better manager, can make their practice better. So what are 2 or 3 actionable steps or things that people can do today to make improvements in this area, and things that they could do themselves? What would you recommend there?
Yeah, so I am a member of a fabulous organization called OSAP, the Organization for Safety, Asepsis, and Prevention. They are the only dental-specific nonprofit safety group out there. They're based here in the United States, and the beautiful thing about them is that they have a lot of resources available to the general public. You do not have to be a member, even though membership, I think, is like $110 for the whole year. You do not need to be a member to take advantage of these great resources available to you. So if you think about all the different entities, we've got the CDC, we've got OSHA, we've got ADA, we've got ADHA, we've got EPA, FDA, et cetera. If you think about all those entities as spokes in a wagon wheel, OSAP's kind of that hub. They are the ones who take all this information and boil it down. And OSAP recently partnered with another company, and they released an amazing checklist. So if you just Google OSAP dental COVID checklist, it's like, I think it's almost 30 pages long. And it includes, here's what you need to do before the patient arrives. Here's what you need to do for your team if you're reopening the practice or ramping back up. Here's what you do chairside. Here's what you do after you've dismissed the patient. Here's some additional resources. Here's videos. Here's links that you can go visit. That's probably the number one gift I can give your listeners right now. It's free. It's the OSAP DentaQuest checklist, and it's available right now. And it's a living document, meaning we're going to be updating that. And the people, oh my gosh, the brilliant minds that contributed to this checklist, the who's who. Like, I get giddy about this. Like, who's your favorite celebrity, Patrick? Who's your favorite celebrity? Sports figure, celebrity, anybody?
That's a great question. You had to ask.
Yeah.
Probably sports figure.
Yeah.
Probably Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Okay,
Probably.
fabulous example. You meet Michael Jordan. You're a grown man. You meet Michael Jordan, you're going to get weak in the knees, right? You're going to get a little bit flustered.
Yeah.
This is how I felt working with this group. These are amazing experts, brilliant minds in the area of dental safety, infection control, OSHA, and they all got together and we worked on this document, and it's free. It's open to everybody. So
That's awesome.
everybody needs to take advantage of this list. Yes, that would be the number one thing. The number two thing is get your teams trained, not just on bloodborne pathogens, but also on COVID. Help put your team's mind at ease about coming back to work. And the way to do that is make sure that they get sound, credible information. The moment you introduce a hint of bias, they're going to be suspect, right, about coming back to the practice. So letting them know, hey, this is based on CDC guidelines, and we are going to follow the CDC guidelines. You're going to get the buy-in from your team as far as getting them back into the office.
Yeah, that's great information. I know that's a problem right now. I know hiring is a problem right now. So I think that's a show on its own that we should certainly do, because I know it's a legitimate concern. If somebody's concerned about it, it's legitimate. Maybe the source of why they're concerned isn't, or is, but if they're concerned about it, and you can't hire in your practice because people are afraid, because they have bad information or don't have the right information or all of the information, that can be a significant problem. So real quickly, let me ask you this. If somebody wants to help hire someone like you, to help with their practice, to work in consulting or do training, to do webinars, that sort of thing, tell me what they should look like. What's the best way to vet someone to help a practice in this area?
Yes, I think one of the things that COVID has opened my eyes to is the number of people who are experts now and coming out of the woodwork, and whether it's because they're looking at a career change or just a different type of environment. I'm never going to fault somebody for trying to follow their passion, but it also has that's opened up a new Pandora's box for misinformation to be spread in this area too. And again, social media just works to proliferate that sometimes. One of the things that I'd recommend is looking at their experience too. And you know what? You can have somebody who has gobs and gobs and gobs of experience, but they're like the most dry personality out there. And maybe you need somebody lively and dynamic. Then interview them the way you would interview any working relationship you're going to have with somebody, because this is a partnership, and this person's goal, this person's job is to help make sure your practice is safe and protected, not just from infection, but also from potential lawsuits too. So you do want to have somebody who's got basically have their boots on the ground experience with this and have worked in the trenches for some time in this.
Yeah, that's great. That's excellent. I think that creating a checklist on those items right there is something that someone could use across the board, no matter who they're hiring. So that's wonderful advice. Karen, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We thank you so much for your information. I'm really glad to have you here. For our guest, visit KarenDaw.com. That's KarenDaw.com. Reach out to her for more information. Karen, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for your information and for your help.
Thanks so much for having me. And if you can't remember how to spell my last name, just go to theoshalady.com too. It'll point you to the right direction.
There
Thanks
you have
so
it.
much.
OSHALady.com. Look for it on the website. Karen, thank you. Please come back on.
Will do.
Awesome. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. Did you know you can weigh in on today's topic on Facebook? Search The Dental Brief on Facebook or visit our website, dentalbrief.com, and just follow the link. We look forward to having you join us again on another episode of The Dental Brief.